Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're back with another video. We're going to be talking about the carry tier list for patch 7.38c. I got a couple heroes in the S tier, actually 3 heroes that I think deserve their spot in the S tier, only 2 in the E tier, and only 3 in the A tier. I think most carries are quite average right now. Not that it's a bad carry patch. I think if you're a carry player, you can absolutely gain MMR in this patch, and quite quickly if you're picking the right heroes. And so let's get into it. On top of that, go sign up to the Game League website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. All right, starting off in the E tier, we probably have some of the worst heroes in the game. I think Wind Ranger's support is not bad, but ever since they made it where the Whirlwind facet is just not good, it's just terrible in terms of the cooldown, the damage output. It's just not there. This hero sits in the E tier, which is sad because I actually really love this hero as a carry. I think it's super fun. On the same note as really fun carries, we have Lina, who when is in the meta is actually really obnoxious. This hero can have a super dominant laning stage with her high attack range, high attack speed, and just constant spam. But ever since they nerfed this hero's numbers, I mean, they removed Gleipnir, which was kind of just like the item for the hero, you know? I saw Watson trying to pull this hero off as a carry with Mjolnir, but it just doesn't make that much sense on the hero. You don't need the attack speed, and you don't get any HP, and you're buying a Mjolnir, which the shield is just not that useful if you're not high health. You can maybe use it to push waves, that's cool and all, but yeah, it's just not there, so I don't think there's a good item build for this hero, even though its talents are pretty decent. Next up in the D tier, we have Solo Kez. I don't know, I just felt that Kez maybe could have been put in the E tier. He really is down there in my opinion. I think the hero's execution is just way too difficult for the payoff right now. You know, it's kind of like playing something like Meepo where you just really got to know how to execute the hero, when to press what buttons, when to buy the ags, so on and so forth. And so it's just not there. Too many buttons, too hard, the payoff's not there. All right, then we have Shadow Fiend, who got nerfed way back in the day. He was one of the most popular carries of the patch for a while when paired with heroes like Clockwork and Ogre Magi, when those heroes were really broken. But those heroes have been nerfed, and SF got nerfed way too hard. His facet, the lasting presence facet, got killed. Ever since then, it's just not a great carry. Phantom Lancer, this hero's numbers are just terrible. Terrible laner. It does scale fine. Like, I mean, that is the point of the hero generally. Like, you hit a point where the illusions are insanely hard to deal with. But in general, I just think that there's too many ways to deal with PL. It's too many items, Crimson, Radiance, Shivas, all the Ghost Scepters. It's just too easy to kite this hero. Too many problematic heroes in the meta as well in the offlane. Like, I think there's a lot of great responses to PL. All right, then we have Monkey King. Too difficult. Don't play it in pubs. You might see your favorite pro players playing it. Don't try. It's not worth it. I'm telling you, this hero is insanely hard to make work. You have to literally master it or be extremely good at Dota to make this hero playable as a carry. Then we have Faceless Void. The numbers are just bad. They nerf Chrono. Tiny Carry, I actually think Tiny Carry maybe could deserve a higher spot in this list. I think the problem with Tiny Carry is it just doesn't scale like it used to. There was a patch where it had better numbers, especially its armor. They nerfed the armor on its ulti, so it's just not what it used to be. And as a result, don't think it's the best carry. If you play it carry, you want to play a tempo style and try to pick it with heroes like AA and Jakiro, where you can kind of set up for their spells, or Ringmaster. It can be good in that regard. Then we have Luna, which I've actually seen some players trying to make work. I feel like conceptually this hero should be decent, but I don't know, its win rate is terrible. I just haven't seen it do well in my pubs in the games where people are trying to make it work, so it probably is just a C tier hero. Then we have Naga, numbers got killed. PA, funny enough, I just think actually PA got nerfed really, really hard, and funny enough, you're gonna see it a lot in the pro scene, and the reason why is this hero is very good as like a hard to counter carry. I don't think PA is like a great hard carry. I don't think this hero's scaling is fantastic. In a lot of games, what I see with PA is it actually falls off. It gets to the point where it can be quite hard to kill people if, you know, the subs are buying decent defensive items. And so I think the main benefit of PA is being able to stomp the lane and have a stable lane and like being able to make moves early game, which I think is like it's not what you should play for in pubs. It's just not. If you want to be a pro, fine, pick up PA. Otherwise, don't do it. Then we have Marcy. This hero's a fine carry of Fleeting Fury. You got to pick it with certain pairings like Warlock or Io, and then it's decent, but other than that, I'd stay away from it. Then we have Ursa. I think this hero is just incredibly average. It's probably one of the, I have it at the beginning of B tier. It's just, to me, this is just one of the most average heroes. It gets destroyed in lane by quite a lot of heroes. I don't feel like it scales that well. I don't feel like its mid-game timing on B Fury Blink is really that good. Like, honestly, you kind of just die or get poked really easily in a lot of games. I'm not a fan. Then we have Sven. Sven farms really fast, and he's one of the heroes that can kind of farm like that ancient back camp reasonably efficiently, kind of like Luna. But in general, again, it's kind of just a numbers thing. This hero frequently falls off in the late game. It's very hard to end the game, and I would say as a carry, that's Sven's biggest flaw. Taking things like Roche can be awkward. You have to use GDS. Taking buildings, same thing. You have to use GDS. It's very easy to poke Sven on high grounds. You know, it's not really a great Aegis carrier, and so it can be very hard to 1v9 as Sven. However, something like Tiny, I think it can be a decent setup hero for, you know, anything that needs a stun in the mid game. It's not like just a clear blink stun, but for a lot of players, but I think it can be. I think you can kind of just play this hero with Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, Blink, BKB, and just sort of be that initiator for your team, and that's probably the best way to go. Then we have Lone Druid, which I literally never see in my games. However, it's probably not a bad hero. I think with Diffusal Blade, bear with me, it's just a solid hero. It's tanky, pretty strong laner, scale's okay, it's fine. Then we have Dragonite, another hero that's just kind of solid. Then we have Terrorblade, which I think if you perfect the hero is one of the best heroes in the game. And I really mean that. I'm gonna make a video on Terrorblade because I think it's a hero where, for the sake of a carry tier list, like if you're just kind of picking a hero next game and running with it and hoping to win, TB is a B tier hero. If you're gonna put time into a hero, it's kind of like something like Monkey King, where I think if you really min-max this hero, it's very valuable. And way more than Monkey King because the scaling is natural, easy, you kill buildings, you split push, you can win the lane. This hero really can just do a lot if executed well. It has one of the best shards in the game. Like its shard is completely overtuned. It's like 100 attack speed, 100 movement speed. It's like some absurd numbers that let you get around the map and farm and join fights. It really is a crazy hero. So I think if you're trying to 1v9 and you want to put time into a hero, this is a great option, but I'm leaving him in B because it's just difficult. And the late game scaling isn't the best, like the late game scaling, but it's mid game and late mid game are like crazy. Then we have Pudge. I actually just won with a Pudge carry, so I guess I'm biased. I played like a Pudge AA lane. We cooked. The mid game was really nice. Obviously, the amp, he has a stun for AA blast. Like, you know, again, Pudge is probably, it's not a bad carry. It's fine. It actually scales very well with BKB Shiva's refresher. So it's not a bad hero. It just needs to be for a very specific reason. So gotta be the last pick, I'd say. Then we have Meepo. I literally haven't seen a Meepo in years, but hero's like, okay, it's just Meepo. You can last pick it, I guess. Can't be that bad. Then we have Weaver. I actually really believe Weaver is probably a better hero than people give it credit for. I think Weaver is just like kind of, to me, just makes sense as a carry. You buy Dragonlance, you buy your Maelstrom. I think the biggest problem for Weaver is kind of like the Lina issue, where this hero just loved Gleipnir, the stats and the setup. Now you kind of don't have that option, which does truly suck. So yeah, maybe if people figure out an item build that works, I do believe something like Dragonlance, Maelstrom, Shard, Pike, BKB is like a good option. And then you can buy something like Daedalus after. But until then, it's just going to be a B tier hero, but I do believe in this hero. Then we have Arc Warden, kind of same thing as Meepo. I never see this shit, but its scaling is just good. It's just a cheese pick, so I'm not going to put it C tier. If you know how to play the hero, if you master the hero, kind of like Terrorblade, it can be a Giga 1v9 hero for sure. Then we have Bloodseeker. Again, kind of just something I unfortunately don't get to see in my games. However, it has this really crazy timing. We just saw Crystallis played on Team Tundra, and you know, if you hit your timings, which is primarily Mjolnir with BKB, you can pop off. And then he actually bought, I think he bought Mjolnir, BKB, SNY, Dagon. It was like some crazy set of items, and the Dagon is good because you take the spell amp facet. And it's funny, on Dota Buff, I was looking at the pick rates for Bloodseeker facets, and most people at level 10 take the attack speed for Blood Rage, which I think is wrong. I think you should take spell amp. It's good with Mjolnir, it's good with your W, good with your ult, good with the Dagon that you're apparently going to buy. All right, then we have Sniper. I actually think this hero is a very good response to certain heroes like Beastmaster. Then we have Drow. Solid pub hero. Its numbers just aren't the best. It gets ganked a lot, but super solid, pretty well-rounded. Then we have Ricky. It's kind of the kill hero, just classic, especially the lower MMR you go, just kind of the classic kill hero, your Diffusal. And I actually think that the Ags Rush Ricky is, and I've made a video on it if you want to check it out, is really cool. Ags Rush Ricky, you farm really fast. It allows you to kind of play more for a mid-game, late-game timing, which is interesting, right? And the only problem is I don't think Ricky's like the best laner carry. It's okay. It has some really interesting pairs with heroes like Warlock and Jakiro. It can get a lot of kills, but in general, just all right. Then we have CK, again, just kind of all right. I probably should have put him lower on the B tier, I'm not going to lie. This hero's fine. It buys Armlet SMY. I like those items. They're good. Then we have Razor. I do really believe in this hero. I think the Mjolnir Razor build with Thunderstorm is very cool. Something like Mjolnir into BKB into SNY is like very, very high damage, and eventually you work your way into like a refresher and you can scale really well. Then we have Alchemist. I am an Alchemist believer still, even though the camp setup on the map just really isn't favorable for abilities like Acid Spray, especially post-nerf. But in general, I do believe in Alch. I think it still buys some of the best items in the game in Radiance and Sanjanyasha, and its Shard is unbelievable. Then we have Dragonite, who I think as a carry is just kind of good. I think it's underrated even at the top level. This hero can deal a lot of damage. I believe that the build actually might be what it used to be, which is Mask of Madness Armlet, rather than a lot of the Mjolnir that we've seen recently, the Mjolnir Pikes. I think it could be more of just the old DK in trying to blow people up with Mask, Armlet, Daedalus, and of course a Blink at some point or a Shadow Blade. Then we have Spectre, one of the highest win rate heroes on Dota buff. I can't really put it in A tier, even though it does have a 51% win rate or mid 51% win rate, but it definitely is a B tier hero. I mean, it's just a good pub hero. You get to buy Radiance, you get a lot of pickoffs, you get a lot of assists, and it scales well. You also can't mess up and TP across the map from your team to farm and then get them all killed because you can't show up, because you can always show up. Then we have Gyro, who does not have a good win rate at all. I think it's mainly because this is kind of just a difficult hero. You gotta click your buttons at the right time, you gotta know when to use a Rocket Barrage and when to just play for Flak in your ult. The scaling in terms of items is actually not easy. You can kind of mess it up and just grief very hard. But in general, I really believe in Gyro as a hero. I think it deserves to be upper B tier. I think the flexibility of Gyro is incredible. The stability of Gyro is incredible. In terms of gameplay and in terms of the laning stage, is just insanely reliable, and it enables a lot of greedy other heroes. So if you're looking to enable a greedy offlane player or a greedy mid lane hero, Gyro is a great option. Then we have Slark. I think this hero is just solid. I think conceptually Slark is just powerful in my opinion. People are playing it sub now, and I do believe it's actually a good carry. People should flex it in their drafts. Then we have Clinks, who you buy Maelstrom Shard. You can kind of scale and hit really hard on this hero. I've actually been annoyed by Clinks quite a lot. I think that the map presence of this hero, the wave shove, the farm rate is all very good. Its laning stage can also be super solid. So I do see a lot of positives in Clinks. Its win rate has been high for a long time. Definitely a hero you can kind of give a shot if you're looking to be kind of like a Ricky type, but more of a farm heavy Ricky, where you're pushing a lot of waves and looking for pickoffs only occasionally. Then we have Troll. The scaling is very strong in this hero. You can kind of just 1v9 the game at some point. With well-timed ultis. Then we have Venge. Yes, Venge carry. I still believe in Venge carry. I think it's better offlane just because you don't carry that hard. But again, it's kind of something like Gyro, where you're going to play to enable a greedy offlaner or a greedy mid by buying Ags and playing tempo. Then we have Natures, who sadly has a 47% win rate. If you've been following the pro scene, you'll know that this hero is picked like crazy. It's not for no reason. It's a very stable lane. The map is freaking huge. And the camps on the outside of the map are very valuable. Like the fish are very valuable. They give a lot of gold. And NP can farm them because, similar to Spectre, he can farm them because he can be anywhere, right? And so a lot of things favor NP. His ult, his talent tree, in my opinion, are broken. I think his level 20 talent, the Wrath of Nature cooldown, is insanely good for the late game. Just constant gold, constant income, constant wave push. I think this hero is incredible. Mjolnir plus Pike plus BKB plus Revenant's Brooch is insanely high damage and really high tank. You can be an initiator with your Shard. I really believe NP is just very good, just really hard. Then we have Bristleback, solid hero, very solid hero. Can be played as a carry with the Ags build, or can be played as a utility carry with like Halberd or Sanjanyasha or Blade Mail. Either is fine. Then we have Anti-Mage. I actually think Anti-Mage is primarily high B tier, as it's a strong response to a lot of the meta. I genuinely believe AM would be a bit lower if the meta wasn't things he countered. But it is. I'm not going to cover that right now because I want to keep it concealed, but you can probably think a few heroes that might be in the A or the S tier as a result. Then we got that TA. This hero has one of the highest win rate shifts since the recent patch. Its refraction just got buffed mega hard, like crazy hard. In cooldown and the fact that it just gives you an extra charge. It's one of those heroes that can farm all of the back camps, farm the Ancients very early on, right? So the map setup is very favorable for TA. The only thing I'd say holding this hero back is it doesn't have the best matchup, in my opinion, into some of the meta heroes, and that can hold it back a bit. Other than that, I do believe TA is fantastic due to the fact that she got giga buffs to her refraction, her most important ability. Then we have Abaddon, who after 40 billion nerfs is still one of the best carries in the A tier. Yeah, you just buy a Radiance and a Manta, and you can buy a Blade Mail and a Blink, just run around, hit people. you're gonna do pretty well. Then we have Morphling. Yeah, Morphling. Morphling has really come onto my radar lately. On top of that, this hero tends not to have the best win rate on Dota buff, like across all brackets, but it has a very strong win rate at 51.5 right now, which is high for this hero. And it tends to be better in the pro scene, and so I think this hero in the pro scene is going to be picked a lot more as time goes on. I really believe that. And really the major reason why, it's super stable laning. People kind of just figured out that like Giga taking stats on this hero is insane, and its ulti is actually nuts. They made it where you keep your stats when you turn into people, and so there's certain matchups where just like turning into that hero is insane. For instance, if you turn into Slardar, you just bash people like crazy because you have Morphling attack speed on Slardar. It was like some crazy thing I was watching. And you're hitting them for your damage as well. So it's really odd, it's very bizarre, but it's super good. And so this hero just scales very, very well. I would say its matchups in the meta are pretty solid. I would say it matches up well to most of the S tiers, if not all of them. And so yeah, it's a very strong A tier pick. Then we have Jug. I think Jug is just underrated right now. I think even in the pro scene, it might be a little underrated. However, I will admit, for pubs, Jug is just a better hero. People just buy less defensive items, especially lower MMR. There's just less Ghost Scepters, less Yules, is less Glimmers, and 0 to 5k than compared to 5k to 15k. So it just kind of lets Omni Slash be a better ability. But I do believe this hero gets to buy a lot of the strong items. I think Mjolnir is a great item, maybe the best, one of the best Dota items. Truly, I think Sanjin Yasha, his Ags is very good. So yeah, I mean, Jug just does a lot of damage. He always kind of just has been one of those pub 1v9 heroes with Omni Slash in the late game, and he still is that. And with Ags Mjolnir, he also can be, a bit more versatile, where you can, get a pick off a bit easier without having to commit Omni Slash. And so yeah, the main thing about Jug is that he just kind of scales well. Healing Word kind of makes the laning stage a lot easier. And they also buffed his Q, where you have it up a lot more often. I remember when they gave him that cooldown buff to his Q, I thought the hero was going to shoot up in popularity, and it kind of did, but it was already popular. All right, let's get into the S tiers. First off, we have Lifestealer, which is really funny because kind of similar to Abaddon, the hero got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. And Lifestealer to me was like above and beyond #1 carry for a while. Then they nerfed him and nerfed him and nerfed. And he's in that nerfed spot right now, but he's still just the scaling beast that he was before. The reality is you still get max HP for kills. Your abilities just naturally let you scale. Your facet just lets you scale. And to me, the name of the game for Dota, there's two names of the game for having high win rate and winning games. #1, scaling. #2, ease of execution. Okay? The reason why Morphling's in A and not S, and TV isn't in A and he's in B, is because of ease of execution. Lifestealer is easy-ish, right? This hero is so easy. You buy some of the best items in the game in Radiance and SMY. Even though its Ags is nerfed, it's still just a beast hero, right? Its facet is just crazy with spreading its W like nuts. It amps its allies, and so Lifestealer just stays in S. It's just a very, very stable pick for pubs. Its early game is not good. It can fall behind and really struggle, but a lot of heroes can, and honestly, its timing is just that good. Then we have Medusa, which I think is one of the most interesting heroes. I think there's a lot of different builds you can go. The primary carry build revolves around Venomous Volley. The reason why people don't like taking Undulation on carry and they like it on offlane is because with offlane, you're rushing a Meteor Hammer, and you're playing in the more dangerous lanes, so you really need the movement speed, and you're buying an item that you kind of just want to like push buildings. Where with carry, you're rushing Manta, which literally gives you movement speed that you can't use if you take Undulation. Now you could say, oh, but what if I play carry, I take Undulation, and I buy different items? And yeah, I think that might be possible. I actually don't think it's bad. But yeah, you just don't need the movement speed generally as much in the safe lane as you do in the off lane. So yeah, a lot more people are still just kind of taking Venomous Volley and running it with that. I do believe Medusa is just one of the easiest heroes in the game. Its mid to late game is just incredible. Its talents are very good. It does a billion damage, even from behind when it's having a bad game. It's very high utility. As we know, the hero is being played as an offlaner, and yet it scales insanely well. The only problem is it can kind of die pretty fast in the early game, especially if you're not buying double null, like you'll see in the offlane. It can definitely get ganked and kind of run out of it. However, if it manages to get to its timing, it's absolutely incredible. Beast of a hero. And the other interesting thing that I might want to talk about at some point is the Ags Mjolnir build that we've seen Yatoro do. I might cover that in a separate video. I made an offlane Medusa video recently, and you guys really enjoyed that. I might make a carry one because it's very different actually. All right, and finally, arguably the best, if not definitely the best carry of the patch is Wraith King. Wraith King is also an offlaner. However, the hero is just an incredible hero in general. Why? Well, they just nerfed Bone Guard a little bit too hard. They made it where the cooldown is 42 and the duration is 46, so the skeletons are basically permanently up, right? They're going to get you charges. If you're jungling, it's stupid fast. I mean, I had a game recently where I destroyed the Wraith King in lane as Jakiro. The guy went to the large camp in the off lane, to be fair, but you can do the same thing in the safe lane. It's a little bit worse, but you can do the same thing and just recovered. His game was like fine, even though he had almost no lane. It was like some crazy stuff. And so yeah, this hero's jungling potential is just insane. The farm pace is ridiculous. The laning stage is very solid. You just build up skeletons and then go on people. And honestly, in general, Wraith King's just general ability to like push waves is nasty good. Another thing to mention, his talents are so good. At level 10, you have Wraith Fire Blast slow duration, which you should take. I think people will get baited to take lifesteal, but the broken thing about the slow duration is it's an extra 160 damage on your stun at max level. The reason why is the slow is also the damage, right? They are the same thing. And so it's just a damage facet at 10, which is why a lot of carry Wraith Kings are going max stun. They're going 4-3-1 and leaving crit behind, which seems insane, but when you take this 10 talent and you join fights, you're like, wow, this is very strong. It's way too much damage. Its 15 talent is a second on stun, which is super high, or 400 health. Then at 20, you get 60 attack speed, and at 25, you get lower crit cooldown, or your ult stuns, which can be insanely good with your 15 talent if you take that one. So crazy talents, very good items. I'm a huge believer in Blade Mail. I think that item is stupid good. Radiance, SNY, as I've been mentioning. It's just a blink stun hero. And I was talking about ease of use. Its farming ability literally plays for you. Yes, you still have to optimize it. You definitely still have to optimize it. So make sure you are, if you play the hero, think about how to use the skeletons and get them to go from camp to camp. But yeah, broken hero, Giga broken hero. If you want to gain rank, I would say it's probably Medusa or Wraith King are the heroes to spam. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.